Right now, something is happening in your energy field. Not metaphorically, not as a figure of speech. Right now, in this moment, the electromagnetic field generated by your heart is extending several feet beyond the boundary of your physical body in every direction, carrying a precise and measurable signal that the quantum field around you is reading, responding to, and assembling reality around. That signal has been broadcasting since before you had language for it, since before you understood what you were doing, since the very first moment your heart began to beat. And here is what I want you to sit with before we go any further into this. Most of that broadcasting, almost all of it, for most people, for most of their lives, has been unconscious. Not because you were careless, not because you weren't trying, but because nobody ever showed you what you were radiating. Nobody ever handed you the science that explains why some people seem to move through life inside a field of magnetic alignment, drawing toward them the people and circumstances and opportunities that match their deepest frequency, while others work just as hard, want just as sincerely, and find themselves circling the same patterns, the same resistance, the same invisible ceiling. Nobody told you the difference between those two experiences is not luck. It is not karma in the vague way that word gets used. It is not deserving or not deserving. It is the coherence of the signal you are broadcasting. And here is the thing about that signal. Here is the thing I want you to really hear before anything else in this video. There is a threshold. There is a specific, real, measurable threshold in the activation of a human electromagnetic field where something changes permanently, where the field stops being primarily reactive, absorbing and reflecting and amplifying whatever frequencies come toward it from the outside, and starts being primarily generative, radiating its own frequency with enough coherence, enough sustained power, enough quantum precision that the low frequency signals around it simply cannot find purchase, cannot land, cannot reorganize what you are running on. Once your energy field crosses that threshold, the rules change. Not temporarily, not while you're meditating, not while you're in a good mood, not while circumstances are cooperating. Permanently. Because a field that has achieved genuine coherence does not lose that coherence when the environment becomes difficult. It uses the difficulty as contrast. It uses the interference as feedback. It uses everything the low-frequency world sends toward it as information rather than instruction. You stopped here today because something in you recognized that threshold before your mind had time to explain the recognition. That pull you felt, that quality of knowing before knowing, that was not your curiosity. That was your field responding to a frequency it already understands. The process of activation is not approaching you. For the ones who feel what I'm describing right now, the process is already underway. And today, I'm going to show you exactly what that process looks like from the inside. What your aura is doing right now. What the quantum mechanics of full field activation actually are. What changes permanently when your electromagnetic field reaches coherent power. And most importantly, what you can do right now in this moment to accelerate the crossing of that threshold. Because you've been glowing this whole time. You just haven't had the science to see it yet. Let's begin with what your aura actually is. Not the soft, glowing oval in the spiritual paintings. Not the abstract concept that gets dismissed in the same breath it's mentioned. The real thing. The measurable, documented, scientifically verifiable electromagnetic field that surrounds every living human being and does something that no technology on Earth has yet been able to replicate. Your heart is not just a pump. That's the first thing to understand. Your heart is the most powerful electromagnetic generator in the human body, producing an electrical field approximately 60 times greater in amplitude than the electrical activity of the brain, and it produces a magnetic field that is, depending on the measurement conditions, between 5,000 and 100 times stronger than the magnetic field produced by the brain. The HeartMath Institute, which has been conducting peer-reviewed research on the heart's electromagnetic field for decades, has measured this field extending in a torus shape, a donut-shaped electromagnetic structure, several feet beyond the surface of the physical body in every direction. Several feet. Not inches, not millimeters, feet. That means, right now, as you watch or listen to this, your heart's electromagnetic field is reaching beyond your skin, beyond your clothes, beyond the immediate air around you. And it is carrying information. Specific, measurable, frequency-encoded information about your internal state, about the emotional quality of your experience, about the coherence or incoherence of your nervous system, about whether the various systems inside you are synchronized with each other or firing in fragmented, competing patterns. That information is not private. It is broadcast. It is received by the nervous systems everyone in proximity to you, often below the threshold of conscious awareness, but received nonetheless. It influences the electromagnetic fields of people and environments around you. It interacts with the quantum field, the underlying field of probability and potential from which physical reality continuously assembles itself in ways that are not symbolic or metaphorical, but mechanically real. Your aura is not a spiritual concept dressed up in scientific language. It is a measurable electromagnetic field that you are generating, broadcasting, and radiating at every moment of your existence. And the frequency of that field, the coherence or incoherence of its signal, is the primary variable determining what can reach you from the quantum field and what cannot. This is the foundation. This is what we're building from. Because once you understand what your aura actually is at the physical level, everything else we're going to explore today stops being philosophy and starts being physics. Now let me show you what coherence actually means, because this word is going to be central to everything that follows. And I want you to have the full weight of it. In physics, coherence describes a state where the parts of a system maintain a precise, stable, synchronized relationship with each other over time. Not just proximity, not just connection. Synchronized relationship. The kind where the behavior of one part is not independent from the behavior of the others, because they are functioning as a unified field, rather than as separate, competing components. Think about light. Ordinary light, the light from a lamp or the sun, is incoherent. The photons are traveling in all directions at slightly different phases, with their waves not aligned with each other. It's functional. It illuminates, but it disperses. It scatters. You can't direct it with precision. You can't send it miles in a focused beam. The energy is real, but its power is distributed across the noise of its own incoherence. Laser light is coherent. The photons are traveling in the same direction, at the same phase, with their waves aligned. The result is not just brighter light. It is a fundamentally different kind of light. A light that can cut through steel. A light that can carry information across thousands of miles of fiber optic cable without losing its signal. A light that can be measured with extraordinary precision because its frequency is stable and its output is clean. The energy in both cases is the same kind of energy. Photons, electromagnetic radiation. But the coherence of the system transforms what that energy can do by orders of magnitude. Now apply that into your energy field. A person living in energetic incoherence is not broken. They are not deficient. They are not lacking in light. They are fragmented. Their attention is moving in multiple directions simultaneously. Their internal states are contradicting each other, believing one thing, feeling another, doing a third. What they want pulling against what they fear. What they intend pulling against what they've been conditioned to expect. What their heart knows pulling against what their mind has decided is realistic. The energy is there. The light is there. But it is dispersed across the noise of a system that has not yet found its phase. The signal is real, but it is incoherent, which means it is weak in the way that matters, not weak in quantity, but weak in precision. The quantum field receives it and responds to it with the same inconsistency that it carries, not as punishment, as physics. The field mirrors the coherence of the observer, always, without exception. A person entering energetic coherence starts to consolidate, not because they forced anything, not because they performed some ritual of alignment or repeated affirmations until the resistance surrendered, because the field found a frequency that the system could organize around. And once that happens, once the heart, the nervous system, the emotional body, and the mental field begin to synchronize into a unified broadcast, something in the person starts to function at a level that feels, from the inside, like becoming someone different. It is not becoming someone different. It is becoming more fully what was always there underneath the noise. The most extraordinary thing about full field activation is that it does not feel extraordinary from the inside. It feels like finally being quiet enough to hear what was always true, like the interference that made everything feel harder than it should have been has dropped below a threshold, and what remains is simply you, functioning at the level that was always structurally available, always waiting, always ready, but never accessible through the fragmentation. Your light is not something you build. Your light is what you are when you stop broadcasting the interference patterns that were dimming it. What we're exploring today is one layer of something much larger. If you want the complete map, the full quantum architecture of how your signal works and how to return it to coherence, I've written something for you called The Remembering Field, a quantum guide to returning to the light you forgot you were carrying. And it takes you through all 7 movements from unconscious broadcast to conscious, coherent radiance, grounded in the quantum mechanics of your actual electromagnetic field. It's linked in the pinned comment below. If this is landing in your field the way I think it is, take a second to like this video and subscribe so we can keep going deeper together. Now let's keep going. Now let me tell you something about the specific experience of being close to full field activation, because there is a recognizable profile of what this process feels like from the inside. And if you are in it, if the threshold is approaching or already crossed, you will recognize yourself in what I'm about to describe. The first thing that changes when your field begins to activate at full coherence is your relationship with low-frequency interference. Things that used to consume your energy stop landing the same way. Situations that would have pulled you into reaction, arguments that would have reorganized your entire internal state for days, provocations that would have cost you your peace, noise that would have made you doubt what you know, start to pass through with less grip. Not because you're suppressing anything, not because you've become numb or detached or spiritually bypassed, because the signal you are running on has gotten stronger and the noise has less relative power against it. When a coherent electromagnetic field encounters interference, it does not amplify the interference. It maintains its own frequency. The interference passes through the field, is recognized by the field, and is released by the field because the field's own coherence is stronger than the pull of the external disruption. This is not a metaphor for emotional maturity. This is the actual mechanical behavior of a coherent electromagnetic system encountering incoherent frequencies. What you experience as things not getting to me the way they used to is your field reaching a level of coherent power where low-frequency signals cannot reorganize your broadcast. What used to feel urgent starts to feel optional. What used to feel like a threat starts to feel like information. What used to destabilize you starts to feel like contrast, useful for knowing what you are, because it is so clearly what you are not. The second change is your relationship with time. There are periods, as your field activates, where hours pass inside what feels like minutes. Not because you're distracted or checked out, but because you are fully absorbed, completely present inside what you're doing, rather than partially present and partially somewhere else in your head. That quality of presence, where the gap between you and what you are doing closes completely, where there is no internal narrator commenting on the experience because you are simply inside it, is a signature of a coherent system. fragmented attention makes time feel like it's always somewhere other than where you are. You're in the present moment, but your energy is scattered across the past. You're analyzing, and the future you're anxious about, and the parallel reality where you made different choices. A coherent field is fully here, and when you are fully here, time does not feel like something you're moving through. It feels like something you're inside of, completely, without remainder. The third change is the quality of what arrives. In specific areas where your internal state has consolidated, where you have stopped fighting what your field was already showing you, where you have aligned your conscious intention with your actual energetic broadcast, rather than broadcasting fear while intending abundance, circumstances begin to organize in ways that feel less like coincidence and more like accuracy. Like the field is responding to a frequency you are now running clearly enough for it to read without distortion. I want to be precise about this because it is easy to misunderstand. This is not about wanting things more clearly. It is not about visualizing with greater intensity or holding your intentions with more discipline. The quantum field does not read your intentions. It reads your coherence. What you want lives in thought. What you are coherent with lives in your actual internal state, in what your attention naturally returns to, in what generates presence rather than effort in you, in what the system is genuinely organized around rather than what it is trying to organize around. When those two things align, when what you intend and what you are coherent with become the same signal, the field stops receiving a mixed broadcast and starts receiving a clean one. And a clean signal gets a clean response. Not always in the form you expected, always more accurate than what you expected. The fourth change is the most disorienting, and I want to give it the space it deserves. You start to outgrow things you thought were permanent parts of you. Relationships that felt necessary start to feel complete. Not bad, not failed, complete. Like they served their purpose in a phase of your field's development. And that phase has closed. Identities you built carefully. The one who achieves through struggle. The one who earns love by being useful. The one who stays small to keep others comfortable, start to feel like clothes that no longer fit. Not wrong, exactly, just no longer yours. The version of yourself that needed certain validations, certain dynamics, certain external confirmations to feel stable, starts to loosen. And this is uncomfortable before it is liberating, because the coherent self is not the defended self. It is not the self that was built in response to what the world required. It is the one underneath the construction, the one that was there before the interference patterns were installed, the one your field has been trying to return to this entire time. When your field activates fully, it does not upgrade the defended self. It dissolves the need for the defense, and in the space where the defense was, something quieter and more powerful than anything you built through effort simply becomes visible. The fifth change is the one that surprises people most. You become simultaneously harder to manipulate and easier to be around. Harder to manipulate because a coherent field has its own stable frequency, and interference that does not match that frequency cannot find purchase. The signals that used to destabilize you, the provocations, the guilt, the comparison, the fear-based urgency, the low-frequency noise that used to reach inside your field and reorganize it, simply do not amplify in a coherent system. They arrive. The field registers them, and they pass through without taking root, because there is nothing in the coherent field that resonates with their frequency. Easier to be around, because coherence is contagious in the most literal electromagnetic sense. When a coherent field comes into proximity with an incoherent one, the incoherent field does not drag the coherent one down. The coherent field lifts the incoherent one toward its frequency. This is called entrainment, and it is one of the most well-documented phenomena in electromagnetic physics. The more coherent field sets the pace. The less coherent field synchronizes with it. When you have achieved full field activation, you don't have to do anything to help people feel better in your presence. You don't have to be positive or encouraging or healing. Your field does it automatically. People feel calmer around you, safer, more themselves, more possible. That's not your personality. That's your electromagnetic signature. That's your aura operating at coherent power. If you recognize yourself in more than two of these, the process is not starting. It is already underway. I want to pause here and ask you something, and I'd love for you to share your answer in the comments. Have you ever walked into a room and felt the energy shift? Or had someone tell you that something about your presence changed the atmosphere? Have you ever noticed a moment when your own field seemed to turn on? When people responded to you differently? When your light was simply undeniable? Drop that moment below. Those accounts matter more than you know, and I'll tell you why in a moment. Now let me take you deeper into the mechanics of what full activation actually requires. Because there is a difference between a field that is beginning to cohere and a field that has crossed the threshold into what I'm calling full activation. And understanding that difference is what makes the crossing conscious rather than accidental. There is a parable I want to share with you. A story about two people, both of whom were radiating something their whole lives, and only one of whom ever learned to see it. Her name was Mara, and she had spent the better part of her adult life convinced that she was not the kind of person things came easily to. Not because she had been told this rectly, though she had, in the small, accumulated ways that people tell each other things without ever saying them clearly, but because the evidence seemed to support it. She worked hard. She wanted good things. She was not unkind, not careless, not indifferent to her own life. And yet, there was always a quality of resistance in how things moved for her, a gap between what she intended and what arrived, a feeling that the world was responding to some version of her that she hadn't chosen and couldn't quite locate. She had a friend named Elian, and Elian was not more talented than Mara, not more intelligent, not more disciplined, not more deserving by any measure that Mara could identify. But things moved differently for Elian. Not always easily. Elian had losses and struggles and seasons of real difficulty. But there was a quality of eventual alignment in how Elian's life organized itself that Mara had always attributed to luck, or to some quality of personality she couldn't quite name. One afternoon, they were sitting together, and Mara said something she had been holding for a long time. She said, "I don't understand what you're doing differently, and I need you to tell me, because I've been trying to figure it out for years, and I can't see it." Elian was quiet for a moment, and then said something that Mara did not immediately understand. I stopped arguing with my signal. Mara asked what that meant. Elian said, "For a long time, I was broadcasting two things simultaneously: what I wanted and why I couldn't have it, what I intended and what I was afraid of, what I was moving toward and what I was protecting myself from. And those two broadcasts were canceling each other out. The field was receiving noise instead of a signal, and noise gets noise back." Mara said, "So what changed?" Elian said, "I stopped trying to want things harder. I stopped trying to believe more intensely. I just got honest about what I was actually broadcasting, not what I intended to broadcast, what I was actually sending. And then I did the only thing that changes anything. I let the fear broadcast finish. I didn't fight it. I didn't suppress it. I let it run its course until it was done. And what was underneath it, once the fear was finished, was so much cleaner and simpler than I expected. It was just what I actually was. And that turned out to be enough. Mara sat with that for a long time. She realized, sitting there, that she had spent years trying to add to her signal. More intention, more positivity, more visualization, more effort, more discipline, as if the problem was insufficient input, as if she could broadcast her way to coherence by force. But the problem was never insufficient input. The problem was that the input was divided. She was broadcasting desire and fear on the same frequency, and the field was receiving both, and the reality that assembled around her reflected both, which is to say, it reflected neither clearly. The shift, when it came for Mara, did not come through a new technique. It came through a moment of radical honesty in which she stopped performing the broadcast she thought she should be sending and simply looked at what she was actually sending. And in that looking, in that moment of clear, undefended self-observation, something in her field stopped fighting itself. That was the threshold, not a dramatic moment, not a lightning bolt of spiritual awakening, just a moment of the field finally seeing itself clearly enough to stop generating its own interference. And after that, things moved differently. Not perfectly, not without difficulty, but with a quality of alignment that had not been available before, because she was finally broadcasting a coherent signal. And the quantum field, which does not reward effort or punish struggle, but simply mirrors the coherence of the observer, began to assemble reality around what she actually was, rather than around the noise of what she was afraid she might be. This is the story of field activation, not a story of becoming more, a story of finally becoming clear. Now let's do something together, right now. Because this is not a video you watch from outside. This is a transmission you receive from inside your own field. I want you to do something with me. Not later, not when you feel ready, right now. Bring your attention to your chest, not to your thoughts about your chest, not to your analysis of what you might be feeling. Just your attention, resting in the area around your heart. Notice what's there, not what should be there, not what you're hoping to find. What's actually there? Is there tension, openness, a quality of holding, or a quality of releasing? Just notice, without judgment, without trying to change it. Now I want you to do something that will feel almost too simple to be real. I want you to breathe into whatever you found there, not to fix it, not to transform it, just to acknowledge it with your breath, to say with the quality of your attention, I see this. I'm not running from this. I'm not performing around this. I'm here with this. That quality of honest presence, that willingness to be exactly where you are without adding anything and without subtracting anything, is the beginning of coherence. Not the end, not the full activation, but the beginning. Because coherence cannot be built on top of suppression. It cannot be constructed over unacknowledged fear. It can only emerge from a field that has been honest enough about its own current state to stop generating the interference of pretending to be somewhere it isn't. Stay with that breath for a moment. Now, from that honest place, not from the place of what you wish you were broadcasting, but from the place of what you actually are right now, I want you to feel something. Feel the space around your body, not with your hands, with your awareness. Feel the field that extends beyond your skin, the electromagnetic signature that your heart is generating right now, the signal that is radiating outward in every direction, several feet beyond the boundary of your physical form. That field is real. It is measurable. It is active right now. And it is carrying whatever you are actually being in this moment. Not what you're trying to be, what you actually are. For most people, this is the first time they have ever felt their own field consciously. And the feeling is always the same. A quality of surprise at how much larger you are than your body. A quality of recognition. Yes, this is mine. This is me. I've been here all along. And underneath that, something that might be relief. Because the field doesn't need to be improved before you can feel it. It doesn't need to be purified or elevated or activated through some external process. It is already there. It has always been there. You are just, perhaps for the first time, choosing to feel it. That's your aura. That's your electromagnetic signature. That's the thing that has been broadcasting your frequency to the quantum field at every moment of your existence. And now that you can feel it, you can begin to work with it consciously. Here is the deeper layer of aura mechanics that most people never reach. And this is where the science of full field activation becomes genuinely extraordinary. The Heart Math Institute's research on heart coherence has demonstrated something that changes the entire framework of how we understand human electromagnetic fields. When the heart enters a state of coherence, when its rhythm becomes smooth, ordered, and rhythmically harmonious, rather than erratic and irregular, the electromagnetic field it generates changes not just in quality, but in structure. The field becomes more organized, more stable, more capable of what researchers have called positive environmental influence, the measurable effect of a coherent heart field on the fields and nervous systems of other people and biological systems in proximity to it. But here is the part that takes this from interesting to extraordinary. Heart coherence is not just a state of the heart. It is a state of the entire system. When the heart enters coherence, it entrains the brain. The brain's electrical patterns begin to synchronize with the heart's rhythmic frequency. When the heart and brain are entrained, the nervous system follows. When the nervous system is coherent, the body's biochemistry shifts. Stress hormones decrease. Immune function improves. Cognitive clarity increases. Emotional regulation becomes effortless rather than effortful. This is not a cascade of effects that begins with trying. It begins with the heart. And the heart enters coherence not through force, but through specific emotional states, through what the heart math researchers call core heart feelings: genuine appreciation, care, compassion, and love. Not performed, not manufactured, genuine. This is the mechanism that explains something you have probably experienced, but never had language for. The times when you felt most yourself, most aligned, most in flow. The times when your field was radiating at its highest coherence were not the times when you were trying hardest. They were the times when you were most genuinely present with something you loved, most authentically connected to something that mattered to you, most honestly in contact with what you actually are underneath everything you've been performing. Genuine appreciation is not a spiritual practice. It is a coherence generator. It is the specific emotional frequency that most reliably shifts the heart into its highest electromagnetic coherence, which then cascades through the entire system, which then produces a field broadcast that is cleaner, stronger, more precise, and more capable of quantum influence than anything produced by effort or intention alone. This is why the people who seem to have the most magnetic fields, the ones whose presence shifts the energy of a room, whose lives seem to organize around them with a quality of elegant alignment, are almost universally people who have a deep and genuine relationship with appreciation. not forced gratitude, not performative positivity, real appreciation. The kind that arises naturally when you are in genuine contact with the beauty and precision of what is actually here. Full field activation is not about becoming more powerful. It is about becoming more genuinely yourself. Because the most genuinely yourself you can be is the version of you that is in honest, appreciative contact with your own existence. And that version of you generates a field that nothing low frequency can touch. Now let me tell you what happens on the other side of the threshold. What full field activation actually looks like as a lived experience. Because this is the part most people never hear described clearly. And I think it matters enormously. When your electromagnetic field reaches full coherence, when the threshold is crossed and the activation becomes sustained rather than intermittent, the most immediate and unmistakable change is in what reaches you from the outside world. Low-frequency signals stop finding purchase. I want to be very specific about what this means, because it is easy to confuse it with something it is not. It does not mean you become immune to difficulty. It does not mean your life becomes frictionless, or that you stop encountering challenges, or that nothing difficult ever happens. Life continues to bring its full range of experiences. Loss continues to be loss. Challenge continues to require response. What changes is the quality of your relationship with those experiences. A fully activated field does not amplify low-frequency signals. It does not take the fear-based, scarcity-based, conflict-based frequencies that are present in the world and add them to its own broadcast. It receives them, processes them as information, and releases them, because the field's own coherence is stronger than the pull of the interference. Think about what this means practically. The person who tries to destabilize you with criticism, their signal reaches your field, is recognized, and passes through without reorganizing your broadcast. Not because you've become cold or defended, because your field is running at a frequency that low-frequency interference cannot match. The scarcity narrative that used to trigger your fear response, the not enough, not safe, not worthy signal that used to reach inside your field and turn down your light, no longer finds the resonant receiver it used to find. Not because you've suppressed the fear, because the coherence of your field is strong enough that the fear signal cannot overpower it. This is the physics of protection that your aura provides when it is fully activated. not a wall, not a barrier, not a defensive structure of any kind. A coherent frequency that is simply incompatible with the low frequency signals that used to reach you. They arrive. They are not amplified. They pass. What this feels like from the inside is a quality of unshakable okayness. Not happiness. Happiness is a response to circumstances. Okayness at the level I'm describing is a quality of the field itself. A stability that does not depend on what is happening outside you, because it is not generated by what is happening outside you. It is generated by the coherence of your own electromagnetic broadcast. This is what people are actually pointing at when they talk about being in their power. Not dominance, not force, not the kind of power that requires other people to be less. The kind of power that is simply the full, coherent expression of your own electromagnetic field, operating at the frequency of what you actually are, rather than at the frequency of what you've been conditioned to broadcast. And here is what that field does to the quantum field around it. The quantum field, the underlying field of probability from which physical reality continuously assembles itself, is not indifferent to the observer. This is not a spiritual claim. This is one of the most foundational and well-documented findings of quantum physics. The act of observation affects the behavior of quantum systems. The observer and the observed are not separate. They are entangled. The quality of the observation, its coherence, its precision, its sustained frequency, determines which of the infinite probabilities in the quantum field collapse into actual experience. A fragmented observer produces fragmented observation. The signal is noisy, inconsistent, full of interference from the competing frequencies inside the system. The quantum field responds to that signal with the same inconsistency. Synchronicities that would be available to a coherent observer are blocked by the noise. Connections that require a specific frequency to reach you cannot find their way through the interference. Opportunities that exist in the field of probability cannot collapse into your experience because your observation is too scattered to select them. A coherent observer produces a clean signal, stable, sustained, precise, and the quantum field responds to that signal with a different quality of organization. What were probabilities become actualities? What were possibilities become experiences? Not because you wanted them hard enough, because your field was coherent enough to select them from the quantum field of all possibilities. This is what nothing low frequency can reach you actually means at the quantum level. When your field is fully activated, you are not broadcasting a frequency that the low frequency probabilities in the quantum field can match. They exist in the field. All probabilities exist in the quantum field at all times. But they cannot collapse into your experience because your observation does not select them. Your coherent field selects what matches its frequency. And what matches a fully activated high coherence electromagnetic field is not scarcity, not conflict, not diminishment, not the familiar ceiling of the fragmented life. What matches it is what you actually are, which, as it turns out, is more than you've been allowing yourself to experience. Now let me show you the specific practices that accelerate crossing the threshold, because understanding the mechanics is essential. But understanding without embodiment is just more noise in the system. These are not techniques to add to your field. These are ways of removing what has been dimming it. The first practice is what I call the honest broadcast. Most people, when they try to work with their energy field, are performing a broadcast they think they should be sending, rather than being honest about the broadcast they're actually sending. They're generating appreciation while suppressing fear. They're intending abundance while broadcasting scarcity. They're radiating love while protecting themselves from it. And the result is a mixed signal, which is to say, no signal at all, just more noise. The honest broadcast begins with a simple and sometimes uncomfortable question. What am I actually radiating right now? Not what do I want to be radiating? Not what would I like my field to be broadcasting? What is it actually broadcasting in this moment? And then, this is the crucial part. Instead of immediately trying to change it, you stay with it. You let it be seen. You acknowledge it with the full honesty of your attention. Because a field that is seen clearly does not need to keep generating the same pattern to be acknowledged. The pattern was generating itself in large part because it had never been fully witnessed, because the energy had been moving through you without ever being consciously met. When you meet it, when you say with the quality of your attention, I see this fear, I see this grief, I see this anger, I see this longing, something in the field releases, not because you fixed it, because you finally looked at it. And what has been seen clearly no longer needs to generate itself for the purpose of being seen. This is the mechanism behind every genuine energetic shift that has ever happened in a human being. Not the addition of higher frequencies on top of suppressed lower ones. The honest acknowledgement of what was there, which allows it to complete its cycle, which creates the space for the field's natural coherence to emerge. Your field wants to cohere. It is its natural state. The only thing that prevents it is the interference of unacknowledged patterns running below the surface of consciousness. When you bring them to the surface, when you look at them with honest, non-judgmental attention, the interference dissolves. And what remains is the coherence that was always underneath it. The second practice is what I call field expansion. This is the practice you began earlier in this video, and I want to take it further now. Bring your attention back to your chest, back to the area around your heart. And this time, instead of just noticing what's there, I want you to feel the electromagnetic field your heart is generating, the torus of energy that extends beyond your body in every direction. Feel it extending in front of you. Several feet in front of you, your field is present and active. Feel it extending behind you. Several feet behind you, your field is radiating. Feel it extending to your left and right, above you and below you. You are not a body with a field around it. You are a field that has a body at its center. The body is the densest part of the field, but it is not the boundary of the field. The field is primary. The body is a local condensation of the field's energy. Now, from that felt sense of your field, from that quality of awareness that extends beyond your skin, I want you to introduce a single frequency, not a thought, not an affirmation, a frequency. The frequency of genuine appreciation. Find something real, something you actually appreciate, not something you think you should appreciate, something that, when you bring it to mind, produces a spontaneous quality of warmth in your chest. It can be small. It can be a person, a moment, a quality of light, a piece of music, the fact that you are breathing. It doesn't matter what it is. It matters only that it is genuine. Hold that genuine appreciation in your awareness. Let it be felt in your chest. Let it be felt as a warmth, a softening, an opening. And then let that feeling expand into your field. Let the appreciation radiate outward from your heart into the electromagnetic field that surrounds you. Feel the field changing quality as the appreciation moves through it. Feel it becoming more organized, more coherent, more luminous. This is not imagination. This is the actual mechanism of heart coherence. You are shifting the electromagnetic structure of your field by introducing a coherence generating frequency into it. The HeartMath research has documented this shift in real time using HRV analysis, heart rate variability, the measure of the heart's rhythmic coherence. Genuine appreciation reliably produces the smooth, ordered, coherent heart rhythm pattern that generates the most powerful and organized electromagnetic field the human heart is capable of producing. You are not performing this. You are doing it right now. Stay in that quality of field expansion for as long as it feels alive. And notice what changes in how you feel, in the quality of your awareness, in the sense of your own presence. That change is not psychological. That change is electromagnetic. Your field has just shifted. That is what a field activation feels like from the inside. Not dramatic, not overwhelming, just a quality of becoming more fully present in your own light. The third practice is what I call conscious signal setting. Most people's energy fields are primarily reactive. They broadcast whatever frequency is generated by whatever is happening around them. Someone is angry, the field picks up the anger. The news is frightening, the field picks up the fear. The environment is chaotic. The field picks up the chaos. And then that field broadcasts those frequencies back into the quantum field, which assembles more of the same, which generates more of the same frequencies in the field, which broadcasts them back, which assembles more of the same. This is the loop that full field activation breaks. Conscious signal setting is the practice of deliberately choosing what your field broadcasts before you enter any environment or encounter. Not by suppressing what you actually feel, not by performing a frequency you don't genuinely have access to. By consciously accessing a frequency you do genuinely have access to, and setting it as your field's primary broadcast before the environment has a chance to set it for you. This is simpler than it sounds. Before you enter a difficult conversation, before you walk into a challenging environment, before you engage with anything that has historically pulled your field into reactive broadcasting, take 30 seconds. Bring your attention to your heart. Find the genuine appreciation. Let it expand into your field. And then consciously set that as your broadcast, not as armor, not as protection, as a declaration of what you are choosing to radiate, regardless of what the environment is radiating. A field that enters an environment with a conscious, coherent broadcast does not get reorganized by the environment's frequency. It reorganizes the environment's frequency. This is entrainment. This is the physics of why fully activated people change the energy of rooms they walk into. Not by trying, by having set their signal before they arrived. You have this capacity. You have always had this capacity. The only thing that has prevented you from using it consistently is not knowing that it was yours to use. Now it is. Let me go even deeper into what happens to the quantum field around you once your activation is sustained. Because there is a level of this that most conversations about aura and energy never reach, and I think you're ready for it. When your electromagnetic field maintains coherence over time, not just in meditation, not just when circumstances are cooperating, but as a sustained baseline of your daily experience, something happens in the quantum field that is genuinely difficult to describe in ordinary language, but is mechanically real. The quantum field begins to organize around you differently. In quantum physics, there is a principle called quantum Zeno effect. The observation that a quantum system that is continuously and stably observed tends to maintain its state rather than evolving away from it. The coherent observer, by maintaining a stable observational frequency, stabilizes the quantum field in the direction of that frequency. The field does not drift away from what the coherent observer is selecting, because the selection is continuous and stable. What this means in practical terms is that a person with a fully activated, sustained, coherent field does not just have better experiences occasionally. They create a kind of quantum groove, a stable attractor in the probability field that continuously selects for experiences, encounters, and circumstances that match their coherent frequency, not as a one-time manifestation event, as an ongoing structural feature of their relationship with the quantum field. This is the difference between someone who has a great day and someone who seems to live inside a permanently different quality of reality. The great day is a moment of coherent observation that selects a high-frequency outcome from the quantum field. The permanently different quality of reality is what happens when the coherent observation is sustained long enough that the quantum field has organized a stable attractor around it. The threshold I've been describing throughout this video, the moment when your field stops being primarily reactive and starts being primarily generative, is the moment when this quantum groove begins to form, when your coherent observation becomes sustained enough that the quantum field starts to structurally favor what you are coherent with, rather than what you are occasionally aligned with. And once that groove forms, Once that attractor is established in the quantum field, the rules genuinely do change. Not because you have defeated the low-frequency world, not because difficult things stop happening, but because the structural organization of the quantum field around you no longer selects for low-frequency outcomes with the same probability it used to. The groove is set to a different frequency, and the field fills the groove with what matches it. This is what nothing low frequency can reach you ever again actually means. Not that you become invulnerable, not that you transcend the human experience, but that your quantum groove, the attractor you've established in the field through sustained, coherent observation, no longer selects for what used to reach you. The low-frequency probabilities are still there in the field. They will always be there, but they cannot collapse into your experience because your observation does not select them. Your groove is set to a different frequency, and once the groove is set, maintaining it does not require effort. It requires honesty, continued honesty about your actual broadcast, continued willingness to acknowledge and release whatever interference patterns arise, continued return to the genuine appreciation that generates heart coherence, not as a discipline, as a way of being, as the natural expression of a field that has found its frequency and recognizes what it feels like to operate from that place. There is a question I want to ask you now, and I want you to hold it not as a thought, but as a felt inquiry. Let it land in your field rather than in your mind. What have you been broadcasting without choosing to? Not what have you been thinking, not what have you been feeling in the moments when you're paying attention. What has been running in the background of your field continuously beneath the surface of your conscious awareness, shaping what the quantum field assembles around you without your knowledge or consent? For most people, the honest answer includes some version of these. The broadcast of not quite safe. The broadcast of not quite enough. The broadcast of having to work harder than it should take for things to work out. The broadcast of love being something you earn rather than something you are. The broadcast of the world being fundamentally indifferent or actively resistant to what you most deeply want. These are not beliefs you chose. They were installed in your field by experiences that happened before you had the capacity to choose what you absorbed from them, by environments that were broadcasting those frequencies, and whose broadcasts your developing nervous system received and incorporated into its own signal. By the accumulated weight of moments in which the world seemed to confirm what you feared was true. and they have been running in your field ever since. Not because you're broken, not because you're damaged beyond repair, because that's what fields do. They incorporate the frequencies they've been exposed to, and they broadcast them, and they continue broadcasting them until something intervenes to create a different pattern. That something is consciousness. Specifically, the kind of consciousness that can observe its own field clearly enough to recognize what it's broadcasting and honest enough to acknowledge it without judgment. The moment you see the broadcast clearly, the moment you look at the fear-based signal and say, "I see you. I know what you are. You were installed in my field by experiences that are over. You are not what I am choosing to broadcast," is the moment the field begins to reorganize. Not instantly, not dramatically, but irreversibly. Because a pattern that has been seen clearly cannot go back to being invisible. And a pattern that cannot hide can be released. And a field that has released its interference patterns can cohere. And a field that has cohered can cross the threshold. And a field that has crossed the threshold does not go back. This is why the process, once it begins, feels like it moves in one direction. Why the people who are in it describe a sense of no longer being able to go back to the old frequency, even when they try. Not because they've achieved some final state of perfection, because the field has found its coherence, and coherence, once genuinely established, is more stable than the fragmentation that preceded it. You don't go back, not because you won't be tempted, because the coherent field is simply more itself than the fragmented one was, and the self recognizes itself and does not willingly return to not recognizing. Now, I want to address something that comes up for almost everyone who is in this process, and I want to address it with full honesty, because I think the partial version of this truth does more harm than good. There will be moments, even after the threshold is crossed, when your field encounters interference so strong that you feel it. When loss is real, and grief is real, and the electromagnetic impact of genuine difficulty moves through your field in ways that temporarily disrupt its coherence. When the low-frequency world sends something toward you that is not symbolic or energetic, but concretely, materially real in its impact. A fully activated field is not a field that does not feel these things. It is a field that feels them completely and does not get permanently reorganized by them. This is the distinction that matters. The goal of full field activation is not emotional invulnerability. It is not the absence of feeling. It is not becoming a being of pure light who floats above the human experience without being touched by it. That would not be activation. That would be dissociation. And dissociation is not coherence. Full field activation means you feel everything that is real to feel. And then your field returns to its coherent frequency. Not because you forced it back, because the coherence is now more fundamental to your field than the disruption is. Because the groove is set deep enough that even real interference moves through it without permanently redirecting it. The grief moves through a fully activated field, like a wave through water, completely, without resistance, and then it passes. The water remains water. The wave was real. The water still itself. This is what emotional resilience actually is at the electromagnetic level. Not the absence of waves, the depth and coherence of the water. So if you are in a period of real difficulty right now, if the interference you're encountering is not abstract, but concrete, not energetic, but material, I want you to hear this clearly. The difficulty does not mean your field is not activating. It may mean your field is activating precisely enough to feel what has always been real, but was previously being suppressed. The wave is moving through. The water is becoming more itself, not less. Let the wave move through. Don't add the interference of resistance to the interference that's already present. Don't broadcast the fear that the grief means something is wrong with your field. The grief is not a sign of low coherence. The resistance to the grief is. Feel it completely. Let it move. And notice, underneath the movement of the wave, the quality of the water, the stillness that is there even in the midst of the feeling, the part of you that is witnessing the experience without being destroyed by it. That witnessing quality, that capacity to be fully in the feeling without being permanently reorganized by it. That is your field's coherence. That is the activation. Right there, in the midst of the difficulty. You are not failing to be activated because you are feeling something hard. You are demonstrating your activation by feeling it fully and remaining yourself. Let me speak now to the community of people who are in this process together. Because one of the most profound and least discussed aspects of field activation is what happens when coherent fields come into proximity with each other. Individual fields entrain. We've talked about this. A coherent field in proximity to an incoherent one lifts the incoherent one toward its frequency. But what happens when multiple coherent fields come into proximity with each other is something different and something more. Coherent fields in resonance with each other amplify, not additively, not two coherent fields producing twice the coherence of one. Multiplicatively. The way laser light, when amplified through a gain medium, does not just get brighter, it gets more coherent, more precise, more capable of penetrating what a single beam could not. A community of people who are consciously working with their electromagnetic fields, who are in the process of activating their personal coherence, who are choosing to broadcast consciously rather than reactively, who are doing the honest work of acknowledging and releasing their interference patterns, does not just produce a collection of individually stronger fields. It produces a collective field that is qualitatively different from the sum of its parts, more coherent, more capable, more quantum mechanically powerful in its influence on the shared reality it inhabits. This is why community matters in this work, not for support in the emotional sense, though that matters too, for amplification in the electromagnetic sense. Every person who is consciously working to activate their field is contributing to a collective frequency that lifts every other person in that field toward their own activation. The community is a coherence amplifier. So if you are in this process, I want to ask you to share something in the comments. Not the polished version, not the version that makes you sound further along than you are. The honest version. What was the moment, the period, the threshold that started this process in you? What was the thing that happened, or the thing that became impossible to ignore, that began the consolidation of your field? The moment you look back on now and recognize as the beginning of the activation, even if it didn't feel like a beginning at the time, even if it felt like loss or confusion or the disorienting experience of outgrowing something you thought was permanent. Share that, not for the audience, for the field. Because when honest accounts of genuine threshold crossings enter the collective field of this community, they create a frequency that makes the threshold more accessible for everyone who reads them. Your honest account of your activation is a coherence generator for everyone in this space. Your field is not just yours. It is a contribution to the collective frequency of every space you inhabit. Now let me bring this toward integration. Because the most important moment in any transmission is not the peak of the teaching. It is the moment of landing. The moment when what has been understood in the mind begins to settle into the field as a lived reality rather than a concept. Here is the integration principle I want to leave you with today. Full field activation is not a destination. It is a direction. There is no moment at which you arrive at fully activated and then coast. The threshold I've been describing is real. There is a genuine crossing point at which the field's coherence becomes self-sustaining rather than effortful, at which the quantum groove is established and the rules change. But the crossing of that threshold is not the end of the process. It is the beginning of a different kind of process. A process in which you are no longer working to activate your field, but working to deepen its coherence, to widen the groove, to increase the precision of your broadcast, to expand the range of what your field can influence through its coherence, to discover, layer by layer, what was always underneath the interference, which turns out to be more than you expected, and then more than that, and then more than that. The fully activated field is not a fixed state. It is a living, growing, deepening reality, and the direction of its growth is always the same, toward more honesty, more genuine appreciation, more complete presence with what is actually here, more willingness to feel what is real and release what is finished, more capacity to radiate what you actually are rather than what you've been performing. That direction is available to you right now, in this moment. Not when you've done enough work, not when you've resolved enough patterns, not when you feel ready. Now. Because the direction does not require a particular starting point. It only requires the willingness to move in it. Your field is active. It has always been active. The question has never been whether you are radiating. You have been radiating your entire life. The question is whether you are radiating consciously, whether you are broadcasting what you actually are or what you've been conditioned to broadcast, whether you are choosing your signal or inheriting it from every environment that has ever left its frequency in your field. Today, you have the science. You have the mechanics. You have the felt experience of your own field, expanded and coherent, radiating from your heart into the quantum field around you. You have the practices that accelerate the crossing of the threshold. You have the community of other conscious radiators whose combined fields amplify your own. What you do with all of that is your choice. It has always been your choice. You just perhaps didn't know until now that the choice was this specific, this real, this electromagnetic. You are not a person who is trying to manifest a better life. You are an electromagnetic field that is continuously broadcasting a signal that the quantum field is continuously assembling reality around. The only variable is the coherence of your broadcast. And the coherence of your broadcast is something you can feel, work with, deepen, and sustain. That is the whole story. Everything else is detail. Now let me close with something I want you to carry with you. Not as a thought, as a frequency, as something you let land in your field and stay there. You have been glowing this whole time. Not sometimes, not when you were at your best, not when circumstances were cooperating and you felt aligned and the day was going well. All the time, in the darkness as much as in the light, in the confusion as much as in the clarity, in the seasons when you felt most lost and most uncertain and most like the signal had gone quiet. Your light was on. It has always been on. What changed in those dark seasons was not your light. What changed was the interference. The noise got loud enough that you couldn't hear the signal underneath it. The fragmentation got deep enough that the coherence felt like something you had lost rather than something that was waiting patiently underneath the interference for you to become quiet enough to feel it again. You never lost it. You couldn't lose it. It is not something you have. It is something you are. And something you are cannot be taken from you. It can be covered. It can be dimmed. It can be buried under layers of interference so thick that you forget it's there. But it cannot be removed because it is not separate from you. It is you. The most fundamental thing about you. The electromagnetic signature that has been broadcasting your existence to the quantum field since the first moment your heart began to beat. And now you know it. Not just as a beautiful idea, as a measurable, directable, quantum mechanical reality that you can feel in your chest right now if you bring your attention there. The field that extends beyond your body in every direction. The torus of electromagnetic energy generated by your heart. The signal that the quantum field is reading and responding to at every moment. That signal is yours. It has always been yours. And the moment you take conscious ownership of it, the moment you stop broadcasting by default and start broadcasting by choice, is the moment the threshold becomes accessible. You are closer to that threshold than you think. In fact, for the ones who felt something shift as this transmission moved through them, for the ones who feel their field differently right now than they did at the beginning of this video, I want to say something directly. You may have already crossed it. Not because of anything I said, because of what you are, because of what your field has been moving toward for longer than you realize. Because the process of activation does not begin when you learn about it. It begins when the cost of fragmentation exceeds what the system is willing to pay. And for many of you, that moment was not today. Today was just the moment you got the language for something that was already in motion. The activation is not approaching. It is already here. Your field is active. Your light is conscious. Your signal is clear. What you radiate, reality assembles around. And what you are at the level of your electromagnetic signature, at the level of what your heart has been broadcasting since the beginning, is not small, not limited, not the frequency of lack or fear or the familiar ceiling of the life that was assembled around an unconscious broadcast. What you are is radiant, measurably, electromagnetically, quantum mechanically radiant. Shine. Not because you should, not because it's the right thing to do, not because the world needs your light, though it does. Shine because that's what you are. Welcome to your own field. Welcome to your own light. It has been waiting for you to arrive. If this transmission is still moving through you, let it settle during morning stillness before the day's noise arrives, or in the quiet before sleep, when your field is most receptive and open. And if someone came to mind while you were watching, someone whose light needs reminding that it was never actually off, send this to them. When you share this, you are not just passing along a video. You are activating someone else's awareness of their own field. And that activation strengthens both of your auras through resonance, contributing to the collective luminosity we are building together. The quantum field wants to show you exactly who you actually are at the deepest level of your electromagnetic signature. If that transmission is calling to you, the video on your screen right now will take you directly into that recognition.